ISRO a key host and ASI as a co-host. And about IAF, it was founded in 1951. There are 407 members from 71 countries involved in the game. About ISRO, you all know, we are the premier organization carrying out the space research. Of course, now Honorable Prime Minister has rolled out the space sector reform. Startup companies are also coming inside. About Astronautical Society of India, it is founded in 1990 to foster the development of astronautics in the country. All the three together, we are organizing this conference. And IAF conducts annual global conference under various themes. And this year theme of this conference is reaching new worlds, a space exploration renaissance is the theme, which is going to happen in New Delhi in Yoshua Convention Center, Dwarka. I think I request all of you to participate in tomorrow's inaugural function, where Honorable Minister will be there and the inaugural function will happen. And there are 1275 abstracts from 57 countries we have received. This is the highest abstract ever received in this type of conference. There are 822 abstracts from India, 562 abstracts from students, 453 abstracts from other countries, almost 35%. 453 is a huge number. Let me thank the organizing committee, chairman, co-chairman, the entire team. Something around 1,800 to 2,000 participants are going to participate. Very important thing is we have given opportunity to participate. Almost 550 students are going to participate because it is our responsibility to inculcate scientific temper in this country for making this country as a developed country. That is one of the objectives you have set. And it is going to be a 3-day program. First day there will be inaugural function tomorrow, and with very interesting plenary talks. Second day there are plenary talks. Third day there are highlights of the lot of lectures are going to be there. There will be interactive thing, including interaction with some of the astronauts, international astronauts. This is a very key thing. Say, we are always keeping in mind the Gaganyaan program success in the first attempt. Towards that, this is also scheduled. We have brought something around 10 astronauts from different parts of the country. There will be interaction meetings. This also will feed for our Gaganyaan program. And I think all the names are there. You will get the opportunity to interact with them. And to summarize the learning towards Gaganyaan program, of course, we have got grip on the hardware through the development of the launcher, through the development of satellites, through the build of the ground infrastructure, and the human-rated launch vehicle is getting developed, orbital module is getting developed. For all this development, along with that, the human interface is involved. For this, there will be data feeding from the Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, his program, and AX4 mission, what is scheduled in the first week of June, that is going to feed. Then interaction with astronauts like this in these conferences are going to feed the data. And ISRO is a teamwork. You all know, 20,000 employees in Department of Space and industrial partners. Something around 20,000 people are at least working in the industries and academia. It's a teamwork. It is very difficult to isolate somebody that he has done or she has done. But I have just projected all the all the directors of the centers. I think a couple of the people are here, 2 people are not there. So their photographs are just flashed for your reference. And next, we are, you know, the department, Honorable Prime Minister is the minister for us. To be frank, we are getting so much excited technical guidance from him, outstanding managerial support, and the vision we are getting from Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji. And under his leadership, last 10 years, you have seen the numbers in launcher or in satellites. Exponential growth is happening. Space sector reform is rolled out under his leadership. Not only that, the human spaceflight program is announced by him, and we are working towards that. And Honorable Minister Jitendra Singh ji, a great person, he is with us today, and always, weekly basis, he reviews and gives enough guidance, enough motivation, enough support in the difficult phase as well as happy phase. He is with us. Sir, I have to thank on behalf of my entire team. Let us give a big hand to Honorable Minister on this occasion for your outstanding support. Yes, whenever success, we know you will be there. Whenever there are difficult phases, you are with us like our own brother. So let me salute you on this occasion. With that, I want to tell, to summarize, Last year, we have done outstanding work. This year, January 6th, we have rolled out the Aditya L1 data to the scientific community. 5 terabyte data is rolled out. January 16th, we had done the docking. January 16th is another important day. Honorable Government of India gave approval for building the third launch pad. 4,000 crore approval was given to us. January 29th is a historical day. The 100th launch was made perfectly successful, and golden letters we have written in Indian history. The 100th ISRO launch was successful. And space docking experiment is made perfectly success. Behind that, so many people have worked, and thousands of hours, sleepless nights have gone. With that, let me once again thank Honorable Prime Minister for his outstanding guidance and vision, and the Honorable Minister for his support and direction and togetherness whenever we are in the happy occasion as well as when we are in the difficult phase. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. And I now request Honorable Minister, sir.
Madam, 1 second. Okay. Now we will have a small video clipping followed by the address by Honorable. Because continuously I am speaking, you should not get bored. So we thought better to show the video. Then the Honorable Prime Minister will speak. Please go ahead with the video of Gaganyaan first and GLEX.
मां भारत का कोई संतान, चाहे बेटा हो या बेटी, कोई भी हो सकता है, वे अंतरिक्ष में जाएंगे, हाथ में तिरंगा झंडा लेकर के जाएंगे।
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off.
The Gaganyaan project of ISRO is a giant leap forward, our nation's first human spaceflight mission. This ambitious mission aims to send Indian astronauts into orbit at an altitude of 400 kilometers for 1 to 3 days and return them safely to Earth. Before the manned flight, ISRO is conducting several key test missions, including the integrated airdrop test, pad abort test, and test vehicle flights. These unmanned missions will ensure all systems meet the highest safety and reliability standards.
2035 तक अंतरिक्ष में भारत का अपना स्पेस स्टेशन होगा, जो हमें स्पेस के अज्ञात विस्तार को जानने में मदद करेगा।
In April 1984, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian to travel to space, spending 7 days aboard the Salyut 7 space station. His expertise continues to guide the Gaganyaan mission. Soon, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla will become the first Indian to travel to the International Space Station. His work in microgravity experiments will directly support future missions, including the Bhartiya Antariksh Station. In order to develop technologies required for human exploration to outer space, ISRO embarked up on the very successful SpaceX mission. 2 satellites were successfully docked and undocked multiple times, and power transfer was done between satellites. The above mission demonstrated technologies which is required for future human spaceflight missions. As part of GLEX 2025, an astronaut outreach program will feature 9 astronauts interacting with participants. These sessions will inspire and nurture the next generation of Indian space explorers. The future of space is Indian, and it begins now.
It began with fire, a flicker in the darkness,
मां भारत का कोई संतान,
yearning to explore what lies beyond.
चाहे
Humanity gazed at the hills, at the skies, at life. From it began with fire to star maps, from rivers to realms unknown, yearning to explore what lies beyond. Humanity gazed at the hills, at the skies. As time flew, we dreamed from stone tools to star maps. We built from rivers to realms unknown. We moved. The fire of curiosity burned bright, and with every step, our story grew. We challenged gravity, As time flew, we dreamed the first satellite to a human spaceflight. We built to footsteps on the moon. Our journey, the fire of curiosity burned bright, and with every step, our story grew. We challenged gravity. Now, from the first satellite to a human spaceflight, a land that has never been bound by the to footsteps on the moon, our journey into space has been relentless. Witness the dawn of a new era at the Global Space Exploration Conference, India, 2025. A land that has never been bound by the Earth 2025. The International Astronautical Federation, the dawn of ISRO, and ASI welcome you to GLEX 2025 at the Global Space Exploration Conference 2025. GLEX 2025, the heart of India, New Delhi. The International Astronautical Federation, ISRO, and ASI welcome you to GLEX 2025. Nations collaborate to push the boundaries of exploration. As one species, for 3 days, the gathering of minds, missions, New Delhi, and visionaries will become the epicenter of global space dialogue. GLEX 2025 nations collaborate to push the boundaries of exploration partnerships as one species, a gathering of fostering innovation, missions, and visionaries, and inspiring the next generation of explorers. GLEX 2025 today is a platform for forging international partnerships. We explore together, fostering innovation, the path we walked, and forward to the stars, and inspiring the next generation of explorers. Today, we build together. We explore together. We look back on the path we walked and forward to the stars we've yet to reach.
This year, it's my honor to introduce GLEX 2025, a landmark event that showcases India's growing leadership in global space special outreach event, more so conducted over the last 1 decade under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister this year, Narendra Modi has 9 astronauts Space Vision 2047 GLEX from various countries and using this designed to position India as a global special outreach in space exploration conducted for the benefit of students. As you may be aware, we look forward to Prime Minister Narendra Modi has guided India's Space Vision 2047, an inclusive roadmap designed to position India as a global leader in space exploration and space utilization.
It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Global
I conclude
Space
saying that we look forward to making GLEX 2025 a grand
We're here
success
for the next 3 days
and
to talk
indeed
about
a milestone
global planning
in
and
India's
exploration programs
space
on a
journey.
massive scale. We invite
I'm
the
Clay Moore,
scientists, the
President of the
engineers, the
International
policymakers, the
Astronautical
space agency
It's my
representatives
pleasure to
come together
welcome
with
you to the
industry
global
to discuss the challenges
conference
that are set forward here for us to explore. We're here for the next 3 days to talk about global planning and exploration programs on a massive scale. We invite the scientists, the engineers, the policymakers, the space agency representatives to come together with industry to discuss the challenges that are set forward here.
GLEX 2025 is not just another conference. It is a momentous occasion where some of the brightest minds in space exploration, scientists, engineers, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries from over 50 nations. GLEX 2025 is not just another conference. Save the future. It is a momentous occasion. New boundaries. Some of the brightest minds in space exploration as one scientists, engineers, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries from over 50 nations will
GLEX
unite.
2025,
Together,
the
we will
next
shape
great
the
leap
future,
for mankind.
push new boundaries, and explore the unknowns of the universe as one global community.
The world unites under one cosmic sky. GLEX 2025, the next great leap for mankind.
To address the gathering.
Chairman ISRO and the Secretary, Department of Space, Dr. Narayanan, Mrs. Singh, all the senior members of the team ISRO, colleagues from the Department of Space, and of course, our very precious media friends. I think my first thought is that Dr. Narayanan has done so much of talking. In fact, he's also done the ministerial talk, so there's hardly left anything for me to talk. So, but one quick observation, if I can make, he concluded saying that referring to me, that he's a good human being and he's a good minister. And I hope the media friends would trust what he said. So, nevertheless, very kind of him. I think having said that, overall I don't need to repeat because everything has been put to you across very sequentially in a chronological order. But what actually makes this happen and what is made the difference in the recent times is, and what I would say the watershed moment in the journey of ISRO or the space journey of India was opening up of the space sector to the private players, which was something which was quite unimaginable, and most of us had reconciled to work in silos and work in isolation as we were. We got used to it, we got conditioned to it, and there was hardly any demand actually. And in fact, on the 26th of May 2014, this government was sworn in for the first time, and the very first week we had one of the PSLV launchings, and Dr. Radhakrishnan was the chairman, who also happened to be known to me otherwise. So I was at Sriharikota in the middle of night. He said, "Doc, I'll take you to a place where even my scientists are prohibited." It was such a restricted zone, and that was the launching site. So we went there because the launch had to happen about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. So after that, I told Dr. Radhakrishnan, I said, "Radha, I made a principle for myself to learn one new thing every day." What I learned today is that to reach this spot, either one should be as eminent a scientist as you are, or somehow manage to become a minister of space. But then what kept bothering me, and I kept repeatedly also broaching this subject, that why are we keeping this wheel of secrecy in a time and age where everything is known to everybody? And possibly this is not also very conducive and compatible with our growth. And I'm extremely, extremely grateful to Honorable Prime Minister that when the suggestion was put across to him, he was the first one to not only let us go, but also facilitate the participation of the private players. And I think one of the most structured PPP model apparatus within the country, or maybe even for others to follow it, has been constructed in the Department of Space. We have an interface called InSpace, which facilitates collaboration between the public sector and the private sector, and also from the various wings within the public sector, both domestically as well as internationally. And then we have a public sector company in place called New Space India Limited, which is meant for partnering with the private company. And this model actually is now being sought after by other areas, other sectors also, which are looking for PPP models in a successful manner. And much of the achievements that have happened in the last few years are actually representative of the whole of science. Though ISRO is going to launch this Gaganyaan, but it's not ISRO alone. We must acknowledge the contribution made by virtually all the IITs, primarily the first 5 IITs of the country, the Indian Institute of Sciences, the Tata Institute in Mumbai. Virtually every leading institute in this country has contributed one way or the other, by way of equipment, by way of expertise. And so also the private sector, as I'm referring to some of the Tata Institutes also. And therefore, this is truly a whole of science and also whole of government. And as we, the scientific fraternity, are taught not to speak without evidence, when I say whole of government, what Dr. Narayanan also could have added to what he said is that we will have an equally critical participation of the naval forces, the naval guards, in accomplishing the success of Gaganyaan. Because sending up a human being into a space is very fascinating, very romantic. It carries a lot of charisma with it. But equally important is to get him back or her back safe wherever we decide to land him or her in the waters. And there we will have the other people also. And in the last few years, we have had a very close coordination, and I must acknowledge the Naval Guards and the Indian Navy also for their participation. They are also contributing in our other missions like Deep Sea Mission. Incidentally, what I was trying, and though it might be an ambitious thought, but I was talking to Secretary Earth Sciences, because 2026 we hope to launch the Gaganyaan, and the same year we hope to have an immersible deep sea mission. So one Indian into the space and one Indian deep sea, almost simultaneously happening. And there also we have solicited the support, the cooperation of the Navy experts. In fact, we have one or two officers stationed over there permanently in our institute in Chennai doing that. So this will be going to be quite a fascinating year, next year, 2026 for India, when we venture into the space and also discover the deep sea. The other part of it, which is of course not covered in the slides, of course, because he had to do the updating, is that when we talk of the economic growth of India, we come from fragile 5 to first 5, and we look forward to getting 4, 3, and then reaching the top in 2047. Have we ever scientifically thought, most of us being the ones with the scientific background, how is that going to happen? Where is the value going to come from? It sounds good saying, and whenever each one of us says so, the media is also kind enough to cover it. But nobody asks us, where is value? Suppose I go home and tell my spouse, look here, next month I am going to be a multi-millionaire. Will she not ask me? Where are you going to, which bank are you going to rob or loot to get there? So the value addition is going to come from these four sources. Our ocean source is one. We have nearly 1,000 to 1,100 kilometer long coastal area, which has remained totally virgin, totally unexplored. So thanks again to this Prime Minister. Just as Dr. Narayanan was showing that clipping of Prime Minister announcing the Gaganyaan from the ramparts of Red Fort, the deep sea mission was announced by him not once but twice consecutively, 2 Independence Days. And the idea was that the message goes home to the common citizen to realize what it's all about. It's just not diving into the sea. We have a huge, huge wealth, minerals, metals, fisheries, biodiversities. The other day I was telling in a lighter vein to some of the officers in the mining ministry, I said, a day may come you might have to appoint an officer to check illegal mining in the seabed. And that's why our ancestors named this ocean as Indian Ocean, because they were conscious of the huge wealth lying inside. So that, you know, in the old times, you must have heard of the grandma stories where you didn't have the banking system. So they would plant, they would, you know, dig a hole and store all your wealth there, and then plant a tree there, so that someday you would come and sit inside under the tree, the shadow, and then notice that there's something dug over there. So that's why possibly they named this as Hind Mahasagar, so that we could realize. And I was telling the other day, a delegation from Australia, I said, you have a country called Australia, an island called Australia, a continent called Australia, but not an ocean called Australian Ocean. So it is my country. So we are going to, and space is the other. Of course, that was not mentioned in the slide because that was not his subject this afternoon. We have started making very rapid strides in space economy. We were just negligible. As you were saying, we were one digit startup. We are now more than 300. And this has happened just within 2-3 years. I mean, look at the magic of opening up and moving in a tech. We are currently about 8 to 9 billion US dollars. It's about 8.4. But the pace of our rise is happening so fast that in just next 8 or 9 years, we hope to go 5 times to almost 44 billion US dollars. So this is actually not only adding to the scientific missions, both the deep sea mission as well as the space ventures, but this is also going to hugely contribute to the overall economic growth of India in the years to come and contribute to the making of the Viksit Bharat. Then the other part is, this is the success of all these ventures is going to give rise to newer streams of research, study, also possibly entrepreneurship in the times to come. I know how many of you would be aware, because I mean, the fault lies because we don't get opportunities to interact with you so often on these subjects. We have, I suggested this to the Secretary of Biotechnology and he was kind enough. We have entered into a formal MOU between the Department of Space and the Department of Biotechnology. And I was telling in a doctor's meet only 2 days back, I said very soon you will have a specialty called space medicine and possibly an MD in space medicine. So they looked back at me and I tell you honestly, when we were undergraduates, sports medicine was an emerging area and nobody took it seriously. Kya hota hai sports mein? Fracture ho jata hai, baandh dete hain. And now sports medicine is one of the lucrative areas in the medical profession. Each team, whether it's athletics, Olympics, is accompanied by a battery of. So similarly also, you will also have a space physician accompanying these astronauts when they go for the ventures. Maybe that is happening. So we are actually opening up so many new areas through these ventures. It's not going to happen in isolation. And of course, India has also created a model of cost-effective missions. That's something else that we need to emphasize. Our missions are just about 1/4 of the cost of the corresponding missions by the others. Chandrayaan was just about 600 crore, 4 times lesser than the corresponding Russian mission, which of course couldn't meet the expected success which we had launched. Similarly, this is just 10,000, Gaganyaan. The entire, is that right? Just 10,000 crore is the entire cost. And less than the number of words spoken by Dr. Narayanan this afternoon. Yes. And Mars, as we also said that time, the per kilometer was lesser than the per kilometer charged by a 3-wheeler in Delhi. So this is another, because we have an added skill. Our startups, our researchers are also good entrepreneurs, and they also have their invention aptitude is not limited only to the lab, it's also the jugaad. So why do we take so much time? Because we negotiate with the gravitational forces. We take round circles like this, small circle, then big circle, then big, and then finally shoot into the, or we don't move like a bullet train. So we spend more time. It's like, in the olden times when you purchased a car after a lifetime saving, you look for the next slope to put it on neutral. So that is another model that India has come for. A third, because of course everything has been said about the skies, sometimes the cynics say, what are you going to gain out of this? But I think the message for them is that India has also created the Department of Space in India has also created a model of using our space technologies for extra rocket initiatives. Most of India's flagship programs, the last 10 years after Prime Minister Modi has come in, have a plenty of involvement of the space technology. We have this Gati Shakti for the project. We have Swamitva program, where you do the farming, mapping of the farms, the land, through drones and space technology combined together. You have the smart cities, nearly 50 smart cities under Amrut are using hugely space technology. You have the railway crossing, unmanned railway crossings. In fact, we were, when series of accidents happened about 6-7 years back. We were the ones who suggested to the colleagues in railway, look here, we have a technology by which you can detect a possible or a potential obstructive object a few kilometers away by way of satellite imaging. Health, we are using it in such a manner that most of our telemedicine projects are now being hailed even by the other countries. Agriculture, we have done in agriculture what hardly has been done by other countries. We have soil health card, we have mapping of the satellites. So I think in virtually every infrastructure development, roads, buildings, disaster management, we have created a role model of how best, and that is actually the true vindication of what Sarabhai said. Sarabhai said that space is meant for nation building. So we are actually building. And this missions in the sky or in the space also have to be seen in that context, because unless you land a human being there, or unless you show your capability of exploring the space, you would not be acknowledged by the other competing nations. So it's just like you could be masters in kabaddi, masters in gulli danda, but the Australia would accept you only when you beat them in cricket. So that's how it is happening now. So all this is going to raise India's esteem, raise India's economy, and also going to give us the skill and the experience of using our technology in various other spheres. So I think a lot much of talking has already been done. We will then interact with you, whatever you say. And also, yes, and India for the first time is, our capabilities are now being acknowledged by others. That's itself an evidence of the fact that the Shukla is going there. It was during Prime Minister's visit to DC sometime last year or before last year, when President Biden was there. And the suggestion came from that side, that we should have an Indian astronaut accompanying them, which means that the value and the acumen and the capabilities, the expertise of the Indian brain is also started being accepted, because we as youngsters have grown through those times where many of the Indians were hesitant of even giving their full introduction over there. So, yeah, he wants me to talk about Nisar launch. You've already spoken about, yes. Again, what he wants, of course, he's hinting at that also as offer has come from there. So they are now jointly doing this with ISRO, which means they have the confidence that ISRO can add value to their mission. And amazing, ISRO was born officially in 1969, though we started venturing into space earlier, but the official establishment of ISRO happened in 1969, which is the year gone down in the history as Neil Armstrong's year, when he landed on the surface of Moon and made that famous statement, one small step for man and a giant step for mankind. And today, the same NASA is soliciting our collaboration. So thank you very much, and please remember what Dr. Narayanan said. I'm not as bad as some of you may be thinking.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now can we take some questions, please? Yeah. 39, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Anil Handa, Atulya Bharat News and Loktantra Kishan. On ESG parameters, I would like to know, what would you like to say on ESG parameters, the whole project? And the second question is, on commercial terms, if I would like to scrutinize or you would like to play a figure in between 1 to 10, so where do we stand?
First, let me pick up the commercial term, commercial aspect. For a mission of this type, sending our own human being to the space and bringing them back safely, as Honorable Minister told, the original approved project was something around 10,000 crore is the total amount. And then, India strongly believes in low-cost access to space. What we did was, first we picked up our the well-proven Mark III vehicle as the baseline vehicle. Generally, people develop a new vehicle, but here we picked up that vehicle and we have done the human rating of that vehicle. Human rating, as I told, it is nothing but adding redundancy, improving the margins, structural margin, thermal margin, and all the margins, and thereby you improve the reliability. So this process, approach of selecting Mark III vehicle, LVM3 vehicle, going for human rating, really that saved us lot of money, at least 50% to 60% money, something around, I can say approximately 4,000 crore we have saved there itself. Yes, a proven vehicle only improve the margin. So thereby, that is one aspect. And second thing is, wherever we have done the design, for example, crew escape system, the solid propulsion we are master. We could have gone to some other system also. We picked up that and improved the performance over that. So thereby, when you talk about a program like this 10,000 to 10,000 crore, of course, little more. Now when you come to H2 and another 3,000 crore will be added to that. And this is, I will say, compared to any other developed country, this whatever we are spending for this program is maybe less than 20%. My first cut assessment, and that is because of the innovative approach of modular concept. That's what I would like to see. Now Minister will add further to that. Your first question is not very clear to me. If you could repeat, probably I will handle. Otherwise, we will address later.
We are signatory to COP, so ESG matters. Economically sustainable goals, where are we on that?
I think that's what I was trying to suggest, that this is not only kind of an experimentation happening for the sake of experiment. It is also hugely going to make an economic difference. And therefore, it's going to be a sustainable economic model, adding value to the overall economy of the country. And that's what I was trying to tell you in the terms of figures, that we have started growing very fast. And I think that's also largely because of the opening of this sector to the private sector. And then when we talk of economy, we don't talk of economy only in the terms of the money in the kitty of the Department of Space. We talk of the economy as a whole. So a lot of our private players, our first generation startups, are now rolling in millions, just within 2-3 months. I think the first was Skyroot. Those boys have opened up a huge factory, the first time in India in private sector, manufacturing rockets. So that too is a part of the economy of the country as a whole.
Sure.
So when if we look at that, now in the terms of the infrastructure that I was referring to, roads, buildings, construction, we are saving time because of the space technology. Disaster management. So money saved, money not allowed to waste is also money saving. We are averting so many of disaster possibilities and potential disasters. So space technology is adding to economy collaterally as well. Not only in the terms of rockets and the space missions, which of course, as I said, is almost 1/4 of the cost, but overall, which may not be very visible, but when we add the economy of the country as a whole, when we calculate, that will make a difference.
To add to Minister, a couple of more points I would like to add. For example, take this program. You may be thinking that we are sending human beings to space and bring them back safely. But then, what are all the benefits it brings? We have to produce zero defect products. That is going to really change the situation of the country in multiple areas. And there is job opportunities. Technology spin-offs, for example, shock-resistant automobile seats. When the astronauts are coming back, there should be shock-resistant material we have to develop. And bio-waste medical monitoring. And liquid-cooled garment used in firefighting area. And foods with long shelf life. A lot of benefits the spin-offs are going to happen. It is not only, we should not address only one aspect. It is
24.
Good afternoon, I'm Srishti Chaudhary from CNN News 18. So my question is regards to the second test vehicle flight of Gaganyaan. When is it likely to happen? And will that push the first uncrewed flight to next year is what I wanted to clarify. Second, I also wanted to know about, are we planning more space docking experiments ahead of our lunar mission, which is likely to happen in 2028, considering this year it took a lot of technical challenges?
No,
Thank
no,
you.
I think that this been partly answered also by in his presentation. The first part is that, of course, we are having a series of test flights because the different test flights are dedicated to test the different kind of functions. So we have a crew model, we have a safety module, we have the lab module. So they are different test flights. But finally, of course, we'll have final flight, which is could be other words in simple terms could be referred to as a dress rehearsal, just as you have before the Republic Day. So that will be Vayomitra, where the idea of sending a robo, which incidentally is going to be a female robo, is that she would perform like a human being. So she'll perform every task which is expected to be performed by the human being when he travels up. And after that is accomplished successfully, then the next challenge, or not challenge, I would say, rather the trial would be to get her safe. So get her safe in spite of being a robo, as safe as if she was a live human being. And after that is accomplished, then we would have the confidence of sending up the human being. And that, I think, the Vayomitra may happen by the end of this year.
260?
25 end, and Gaganyaan next year. And of course, as you said about docking, it's a continuous process, docking, undocking, docking, undocking. And this is, in fact, going to also help accomplishing our future missions like space station, as he mentioned, or the human human landing on the surface of. Now, for example, in the space station, when you send up the astronauts, they have to enter into that. They have to place it there. So it's like, you're opening up, making a gateway, an entrance, and also an exit. So that docking and undocking is a part. The Chandrayaan will have multiple dockings. It will, in fact, the load is very heavy, Chandrayaan 4. So it will have 2 launching, sites, which is called shacks, shack 1, shack 2. And it will have 5 components, 3 from one, 2 from other. Then they go up, then they join, then up somewhere they separate. Then out of 2, 2 of them come down on the surface of moon. One collects the material, go back, joins that one. That comes here. Then there's a transport module. Then there's a return module. And by the time it comes back, all these 5 have performed their different tasks and moved their different ways. What returns back is just about 20% of the total weight you sent. Because when you were sending them, you were very heavy, so that you have to have 2 shacks. So and all that docking and undocking is actually going to create experience, the cumulative experience for accomplishing this Bharat Antariksh Station mission.
So Jacob, one second, to add to this, of course, to your question, some more experiment we are going to do in the SpaceX, plus SpaceX 2 we are going to have, and there multiple experiments are planned.
And this navigation docking which is mentioned, it's like this, one rocket is moving and another is moving along with this. So it's keeping a surveillance and also, if required, uniting with it and picking up things.
Sir, Jacob Koshi from the Hindu newspaper. I have 3 brief questions. First is, I have read reports that our forthcoming Axiom mission, India is paying $60 million for that. So I want to confirm if that's true. Second, do we have a firm launch date for the Nisar satellite mission? And thirdly, if Dr. Narayan could just explain briefly, what are the broad differences between the LMV-3 vehicle that we will be using and the low Earth orbit rockets that are used by Blue Origin or Virgin Atlantic for their missions? Thank you.
Okay. Coming to the first question, you asked about the money spent. Yes, because for this type of mission, including training, everything put together, approximately 550 crore is the type of money what is going to be spent. But then the benefit what we are going to get is phenomenal in terms of experience in training, in terms of getting exposure to the facilities, and in terms of carrying out a joint work and going to the space and doing experiments and coming back, and a lot of things are coming. Second thing is, you asked a specific question on the NISR mission date. The current status is like this: the satellite, the half of the payload has come from NASA, half of the payload from us, and the entire satellite bus is built by us. Today, the satellite is fully built and cleared, ready for launch. Vehicle all the items are realized, vehicle is getting built, and exact date of launch is yet to be decided, but it is likely to happen by June end or July first week. That is the type of tentative dates, and the government of India will take the appropriate decision, and finally the date will be finalized. Coming to the last one, the LVM3 vehicle versus human-rated LVM3 vehicle, the differences are very simple like this. Basically, the LVM3 vehicle to human-rated LVM3 vehicle, we have to build additional margins in terms of structure, in terms of thermal, in terms of all other aspects, and we have to have additional redundancies, and also we have to improve the reliability. Now I will tell you how we have built the additional margin. Now you take No, it is basically, yeah, I understand. So basically we are not totally following them, and we have designed our own system, but keeping the functionality, I must say.
143. Vallabhji.
Namaskar, Dr. Jitendra Singh and Dr. Narayanan. Two questions, one each for Dr. Narayanan and one for Dr. Singh. Dr. Narayanan, in your opinion, is the Falcon 9 Crew Dragon a safe spacecraft and ship? And what is your plan B and C for bringing our astronaut back in case something happens like what happened to astronaut Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore? And shall I ask the second question to Dr. Singh also? All right. Dr. Singh, a broader question to you. सर, पहलगाम के बाद हम पहली बारी मिल रहे हैं आपसे. आपके पास दो अहम डिपार्टमेंट हैं, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्पेस और डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एटॉमिक एनर्जी. कहा जाता है कि अगली जंग जो है वो अंतरिक्ष में होगी और हो सकता है परमाणु बम यूज किया जाए. पाकिस्तान बारी बारी हमको परमाणु बम से थ्रेटन करता है. कि आपकी नजर में हमारे दोनों डिपार्टमेंट सक्षम हैं आने वाले जंग के जिसके कि बादल हमारे ऊपर मंडरा रहे हैं?
Now, before you take up the first question, thanks for being very democratic, Pallav, because you made sure that I don't complain that I was not addressed a question. But I think I'm not qualified to answer what you've asked me. So I conveniently pass on to Dr. Narayan.
Okay, yeah, coming to your question, Falcon 9 and Blue Dragon, I have full confidence on the both vehicle as well as the module, what is selected. Because why I am making this statement is, the vehicle is really highly reliable vehicle. There is no doubt on that. Coming to the module also, probably you are having in mind what happened to Sunita Williams and why it happened. And basically there was a thruster heating. I think you may be knowing 5 thrusters in the module which is supposed to go there and get docked, 5 thrusters, the temperature rise was more. In fact, I want to tell, you may be knowing, I don't know, you are not knowing or not knowing. Same problem, 1 year back, when we did our testing, we had the temperature rise. And then we have addressed what is the reason for temperature rise. Out of 2 propellant component, when one fluid is going less, the temperature rise happened, and we have taken care in the design. Probably what was missing there is little more testing would have revealed in the ground itself. And here we have gone through, we have discussed with them, such a problem is not going to happen because it is having enough redundancies, enough adequacies, and number one, the temperature rise I am not expecting because the way they have done the testing and qualification, that has not revealed any of these things. And so with our limited, not limited knowledge, with our better knowledge on this system, I am quite confident on that. Of course, 1 in billion case something happens, I am sure the NASA and US has got enough plans and enough modules to bring them back safely. Thereby, I am very, very confident that number one, things will not go out of control. And then
165, please.
Yeah, sir.
Hi sir, just wanted to check, my name is Taposh Bhattacharya from Doordarshan. Just wanted to check what is the current mission budget of the Gaganyaan, and is there any timeline for the Bharatiya infiltration that we have, and if Indian crewed mission, is there any timeline for that also?
I think budget, of course, we spoke of. The initial was 10,000 crore.
Initially, but
Is there any
Yeah,
increase in
initially
that?
it might, go up, that's different, but that's the bottom line, most of it. And Bharat Antariksha Station, as of today, our schedule is 2035. And Indian human on the surface of moon 2040. But sometimes the schedules, of course, keep changing, but that's what it is now. Like, for example, Gaganyaan, initially we had planned for much earlier. In fact, our very ambitious dream was to time it with the 75 years of India's independence, but that couldn't happen because of the imponderable like COVID. And in fact, our all these astronauts were undergoing a training there in the Gregory Institute in Moscow, and they had to be called back. So,
with respect to budget,
204
one second. With respect to budget, let me just clarify one point. As Honorable Minister rightly told, initially we were supposed to have 2 uncrewed mission and 1 crewed mission. Only for 3 missions, the accounted budget was 10,000 crore. Is it clear? Now we are having totally a continuation program is also there. 8 missions, including 3 uncrewed, 2 crewed, then 3 more missions, precursor for BAs. For 8 missions, around 20,000 crore is accounted. Thereby, if you look back, for the original 3 missions, it is same 10,000 crore or little, maybe 5% this way, that way.
214, then 17, then 9, and then Anirudh yours.
Good afternoon, Dr. Singh. Sir, Rahul Singh this side from Hindustan Times. Sir, we spoke about the swift strides we've made in the space sector in the last 3 to 4 decades, and the targets we've set for ourselves in the near future. So, but our neighbor in the same time frame of the last 3.5 decades has only been sending terrorist infiltrators across the border and not people to space. Sir, is there something they can learn from us? What is your message to them, sir?
sorry, I didn't get you. Learn from?
Sir, I said we've made a lot of strides over the last 3-4 decades in the space sector, and we have a lot of kind of milestones ahead of us as well. But our neighbor in the same time frame of 30 to 40 years, 35 years, has only been sending terrorist infiltrators across the border while we are sending people to space. Is there something they can learn from us? Do you have something to say to them?
I
think who is better, placed to perform that task than the learner media friends who enjoy the prerogative of writing editorials or writing all sorts of Sunday pieces. You should be educated.
Dr. Narayan, this is Kalyan from Deccan Herald. One small clarification, you spoke about SpaceX 2. So what is the time frame for that?
Right now, SpaceX 1 itself is having extra propellant. We are going to do experiment. Now, we are configuring the SpaceX 2, considering the Chandrayaan 4 and future human spaceflight program. And maybe we are yet to go to the government for getting the approval. It is in the configuration study phase, and maybe in 3 to 4 years time frame it is likely to happen. Within 3 years time frame it is likely to happen. So Shankaranji, you want to clarify any points on this? We are yet to come to government for approval.
Nine, please.
Hi, sir. Soumya Pillai from The Print. I had 2 questions about 2 separate missions. First question to Dr. Jitendra Singh, sir. Axiom 4 mission is something that we are really looking forward to because our Indian astronaut is going to be on board. Could you give a brief plan that the Indian government has? Do we plan to send an Indian delegation? When Rakesh Sharma was there in space, we had a video conferencing with the Prime Minister. So do we have any such plans for Axiom 4? I'll ask my second question also. Sir, for SpaceX mission, you said that it is a success and congratulations on that, but it did not really go well initially because, there was some delay and there was some hiccups. But we did not quite know what the initial problems were. If we could just get a sense of what exactly went wrong initially when we were attempting the docking and undocking.
No, actually, to take up your second question first, it was not such, mismatches of timings keep happening in space missions. But if you see overall, India's record has been far better than most of the other countries. In fact, our Mars mission was successful in the very first attempt. So also SpaceX. There was initial delay, but it happened. It didn't go waste. And you can't call it not being successful. So similarly, Chandrayaan landing on moon, the very first attempt. Whereas even US has not landed in the first attempt ever. So I think from that point of view, it's been quite an appreciable. And of course, the credit goes to the dedication of Team ISRO. Dr. Narayan was saying that all the staff is there, directors, and we were from top to bottom. But what he could have also added is that in this department, we have a unique work culture, which I keep saying that can be emulated by other departments. Here, people don't superannuate because they are so much dedicated by passion. So all the former chairpersons, those who are around and alive, they are equally contributing to the ongoing missions as well. Whether it's Dr. Radhakrishnan, whether it is Somnath, Dr. Vijay Kumar, Kiran Kumar. So that is, I think, a different kind of a model of work culture that they have placed. And yes, what was it? That, let's see, let's happen first. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. I have doubts about what I have to say. How much to say?
Sir,
I have doubts about how much I have to say.
Probably Honorable Minister was very clear. So what he told was, let the mission happen, then subsequently everything we'll discuss. That's what he meant.
I said I have doubt about myself.
25 and then 228.
सर नमस्कार, अनिरुद्ध दैनिक भास्कर से। सर काफ़ी चूँकि साथियों ने सवाल पूछ लिए तो दो चीज़ें जाननी है अब। एक तो निसार का चूँकि बता रहे हैं जून के लास्ट में या जुलाई के फर्स्ट में, तो उसके पहले क्या कुछ और डेवलपमेंट हो रहे हैं, और उसके बाद जो हमारा फर्स्ट अनक्रू मिशन है जिसको कि लास्ट क्वार्टर में बता रहे हैं, उस बीच में और कुछ लॉन्चेस हैं क्या? ये पहली बात। दूसरी बात ये कि बहुत सारी बातें हुई गगनयान के बारे में, खान पान की क्या तैयारियां चल रही हैं उसका कुछ अपडेट नहीं आया। मतलब उनके उस ड्यूरेशन में जब वो स्पेस में रहेंगे तो उसके लिए कुछ तैयारियां चल रही थी, कुछ अभी क्या अपडेट है उस सिलसिले में?
No, not for them. For those who want to stay. Dr. Narayan says कि आपके लिए भोजन की व्यवस्था है।
I think whatever required things are fed.
Thank you. 228, please.
No, but आपने ये जो दूसरा पूछा, ये निसार का, ये नाइसर का, ये थोड़ा पहले रखा था हमने, इसकी तिथि पहले थी, कुछ ही कारणों से विलंब हुआ है। उसमें ज़्यादा कारण वो भारतीय मूल के नहीं है, क्योंकि उनकी तरफ से भी कुछ विलंब हुआ।
डीकेसी
बीच में एक हमारा 2-3 हमारे लॉन्चेस हैं लाइंड अप। क्या होता है कि डेट कई बार आगे पीछे हो जाती है, कोई पहले हो जाती है, जैसे यूएस सैटेलाइट फॉर मोबाइल communication. That's going to be very important.
Sir, there are two things are there.
सैटेलाइट के माध्यम से मोबाइल का इस्तेमाल करना फोन का, वो हमारा एक है, वो है यूएस सैटेलाइट है। और उसके बाद तो प्रमुख नाइसर ही है, 2 ही है।
नहीं सर, फॉर मेनली अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन।
वो तो अर्थ रडार, वो हर 12 महीने में पूरे अर्थ की, पृथ्वी के चित्र आपको दे। नहीं वायो नहीं, उसका टेस्ट फ्लाइट्स अभी जारी हैं। अभी टेस्ट फ्लाइट्स जारी हैं। आखिरी जो होगा टेस्ट फ्लाइट वो होगा वायो मित्र का, उसके बाद गगनयान जाएगा अगले साल। इस साल की छोटी छोटी रहेंगी, लेकिन प्रमुख यही हैं 2-3, नाइसर, यूएस सैटेलाइट कम्युनिकेशन और वायो मित्र।
Hi, sir, the food arrangement. So please hold. Let me complete that question.
Menu.
All of you food is arranged. That is a lighter vein, but food arrangement for them, DK Singh will answer.
Let DK Singh.
Yeah, he's the director of the Human Space Flight Center, so I can let him handle.
Also the
जो एस्ट्रोनॉट फूड होता है उसका नासा का एक बहुत ही स्ट्रिंजेंट स्टैंडर्ड है। उसके हिसाब से आईएसएस के जो अभी तक जो फूड वेराइटीज़ हैं वो सब कुछ अवेलेबल है। फिर भी हमने भारत के अंदर अपने टेस्ट का मूंग दाल हलवा, मैंगो नेक्टर और कुछ राइस वेराइटीज DRDO की मदद से डेवलप किया गया है। ये सारा कुछ नासा के अप्रूवल के थ्रू वहां जा रहा है। तो शुक्ला जी अपने घर का खाना भी वहां खाएंगे और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खाना भी खाएंगे। उसी तरह की तैयारी गगनयान में तो हम नासा का उसमें नहीं, हम अपने भारतीय बहुत सारी वेराइटीज
उसमें भी उसी तरह की भोजन की होगी व्यवस्था। यानी आपको हो सकता है स्पेस में ज्यादा बेहतर भोजन मिले।
नहीं नाम मतलब मैंने बताया ना, मूंग दाल हलवा, मैंगो नेक्टर,
वो गिनवा रहे हैं, वो गिनवा दीजिए एक बार।
ठीक है, हम अलग से बात करते हैं।
नहीं, एक बार आप गिनवा दीजिए 2-3 आइटम जो आपने अभी मूंग का हलवा वगैरह गिनवा दो ना।
Okay, 28.
Hi, so this is Ayan from Mint. I have one question on the goal of India to put a human on moon by 2040. You spoke about space station by 2035. Is there any update on the 2040 goal of putting a human on moon as well?
So that is 2040. 2040 is the schedule as of now of landing an Indian on the surface of moon.
So we can take one last question. 160, 189 and 170.
So because you someone spoke about the neighbors also, there was Union National Security Council and there were members who expressed concern about Pakistan's missile test and also nuclear rhetoric, and they thought that this is escalatory factors. Do you also believe that, sir? And are we ready, as someone asked?
See, if I answer that, Dr. Narayanan will be angry because this meet is dedicated to his subject.
170, please.
So good afternoon. My question is about the humanoid. You've chosen a female humanoid, so it's going to be having a brain and a heart both.
Yeah, she would be a replica, robo-replica. So, yes, you have a point, whether because we are going to study the human biology, human psychology, but much of that live experiment would happen when we actually have a human being. So, that is going to be space science, space biology.
Thank you, sir.
So, I'm not sure whether actually the hemodynamics of a live heart can be reproduced in a robo, but short of that, everything else would be studied as closely as possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
some
friends.
updates probably, Padma Kumarji, you can give some update on the humanoid.
Okay.
Now, of course, it cannot reproduce 1:1, but then. Yeah.
So Vyomitra will be able to simulate the actions of the Gaganyaan 3. That is what was intended for. So all the operations within the crew module and reading of the displays and understanding that and responding to that, responding to the ground control with appropriate messages. And finally, see that it is actually fully recovered in the final phase of the flight, so that we have the good confidence that Gaganyaan trees will be safe when they travel in that crew module. So this is what was intended, not the other part, whatever that you had asked for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, friends. Please join us for lunch on the 4th floor. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Madam, first of all, I have to thank Honorable Minister and specifically again you, the way you handle the press. Thank you all. Sir, we'll have a couple of photographs, please.